Comedians are garbage. Fuck you all. Why don't you care?
Why are you here? Do you not give a fuck about the comedy scene? Everyone is garbage. Okay, everybody is garbage, especially the comedians.
So hello guys, welcome to yet another episode of Making Sense With. And before we begin, let me, thank you all for the massive response on our previous episode. We hit more than 5,000 views in less than 24 hours, which is massive. So thank you so much for that. By the way, moving on, for this particular episode, we have with us two renowned comedians of Chennai. We have with us Aqib Jalil and Soda. And you might be wondering what Soda, it's an aerated drink. No, it's his stage name. And I'll leave it to him to explain what Soda exactly means and how that name was coined to him. But yeah, to tell you a little bit more, Soda was the winner of this contest called SRCP, Sterling Reserve Comedy Project by Comedy Central, but no one recognizes that comedy project or whatever it is. And Aqib is a Muslim. Moving on, I'll just give it to Soda to explain how he got the name Soda.
This is the least interesting story ever, because a lot of people think that I put some work into this, like a rapper name or whatever. But it's basically that way before I started stand-up, I was in a WhatsApp group with a few friends, and one of them said, I am going to nickname all of you based on autocorrect.
Okay.
And so Sudarshan, which is my real name, SUDA, became SODA, and then she started calling me Soda. And then for the first few months, I didn't like it. But then after I started doing stand-up, I realized that Sudarshan Ramamurthy is less memorable than Soda. And so Soda stuck. Yeah, and I also want to give credit to Vaishnavi Prasad, Bigg Boss Season 2 fame, for coming up with the name. Because when this podcast goes out, she'll text me and be like, oh, I am some friend. I am somebody. Okay. So just like giving credit to it is due as well.
I'll just put her photo over here in the recording. If we have her consent. Yeah. So moving on, would you mind telling us a little bit about SRCP, because not a lot of people know about it. So yeah, just throw some light.
Sterling Reserve Comedy Project by Comedy Central was basically a reality show, a stand-up reality show that happened in 2019. And basically it was a way for comics to get on national TV.
All right.
And display their comedy talent. And it wasn't just about stand-up, it was also comedy in general. So they chose like 12 people from across the country, from like popular cities. And we had, I think, a few people from Mumbai. We had Gurpreet from Gurgaon. We had Sugar Daddy from Bangalore, and then me and Sarvesh from Chennai went there. Yeah. If you think Soda is a nickname, you should meet Sugar Daddy. And so we did like different formats. So we did a little bit of improv. We did a little bit of like a debate format. Then we did a little bit of stand-up. And then they put those out on their website and on TV. And then based on votes, they chose 8 out of those 12. And then the 8 of us did one finale where we did like proper stand-up in front of judges. So we had Cyrus Sahukar, who is a renowned actor. And he's been in Ayusha and all of that. And we had Wanda Menon, who is known as ex-Lola Kuti as well. So Anu Menon was there, and Varun Thakur was the host and also the judge for that finale. So it was a fun little trip in terms of like how it came about, because it came out of nowhere, and then it like also suddenly it was like, oh, you won. I was like, what, really? Okay. I don't know how to process this. And the nice thing was, because we were like the 12 of us were kind of put together during the shooting of it. I got to like spend a lot of time with other comics. Like usually you only get to spend time with comics when you go perform at the open mic or at shows. But this one we were kind of just like living with each other for like a few days. And usually you think that if you put a few artists together, it's just like pandemonium. But I think we were all extremely well behaved, and we all just like came to like each other a lot more.
Nice.
So like whether I won or not, I think I got a few friends out of it, and I think that's more important.
So I had this one doubt. Okay, so as you said that you it was based on votes. So was it that you were funny, or you had a lot of friends and family?
I actually don't know.
Oh, friend, let me tell you. Wait, I'm sorry.
But like, come on, Akib. As friend and family, you are the one who can respond to this.
This guy has no friends. Okay. So I am surprised that I watched it for the other comics. So, but in all honesty, like I think more than friends and family, it was community. Community brought him fucking so much help came from it, because like I think he says this all the time. It was because of Chennai, the Chennai scene, and them just being like, okay.
But I think like the friends and family thing, I actually don't know, because we were not told how many votes each of us got. But I think Gurpreet got the most votes. That's one thing that was revealed. And for me, mostly, I don't know how much of my family is like tech savvy enough, because my mom and dad are not on Instagram. They're not on social media at all. And I think mainly it was the comics and the community helping out. And I just like, for me, I was just lucky enough to get in. So I didn't even know how to hustle enough to get votes. Like getting votes was literally like how I used to say, hey, come for my show. I would be like, I'm on the show. Can you vote also? Thanks. And then I get WhatsApp bursts and all of that. So I think I would like, and the good thing was that the top 8 that they chose out of the 12, they still chose the winner based on the performance that day. So it wasn't even like votes plus performance. So it was like votes will get you to the finale, but in the finale it's still your performance. So that way I think I felt like, okay, you know what, I guess I can now say I'm funny, and there's proof. Like I don't even think about it as was I the funniest in the 12 or the 8, but it's just that, okay, that day I won, and now if somebody asks me, I can be like, hey, go and check one poster made by Comedy Central. They call me Fresh Face of Comedy 2019.
I think there was also a story. He said that like some fan of some guy who knew him from the show would put alarm clocks to vote for him.
Okay.
Yeah, like this guy, he messaged me on Instagram, and I don't know him personally, and I don't know if he's come for my shows and all of that. But he sent me a random DM with a screenshot of his alarm, where he was like, every day I've kept a 10 o'clock alarm, because you could vote every day for how many ever people you wanted, and for each person you could vote up to 10 times. So it could have also been that, so like people who voted for me, they could have also voted for a lot of other people.
Right. So like the way you explained about this reality show thing of SRCP, it sounds a little similar to Hasmukh. I wonder if you watched that TV series on Netflix.
I watched a couple of episodes, but I don't know if I got through till where he gets into the reality show.
Yeah, but like the dark thing about reality shows in India is that they're all scripted and stuff. So just to know that was this scripted or completely talent oriented?
So I think any art related, like a performance related reality show, the only scripting happens in probably either the selection or the interaction of the judges between themselves. But otherwise, I think the only thing that we were told was, because it's going on national television, there were very strict content policies.
Okay.
So, like for an Amazon Prime or a Netflix, because of their viewership, you don't have a lot of content restriction. You can say whatever you want and all of that. But in this one, we were like, there was an Excel sheet that they shared, which had like 100+ words and topics that we cannot mention in any form or sense. So that kind of did put an extra hurdle, because you're so used to doing open mics and stuff like that, where you just tell the audience, hey, this is 18+, deal with it. But in this one, we couldn't do that, because if you did go ahead and do it however you wanted. Then when they edited that, you will lose more content there, because we were only given 3 minutes on air, and we did 5 minutes. So in that 2 minutes, if you have to get 2 minutes off and also then clean the content, then ideally you lose a lot of jokes.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
So, like, moving on, I happen to know that you both are part of this production house of Chennai called Comedy Countdown. So, like, Akib, what is Comedy Countdown like, and how has your part been with it?
Comedy Countdown Chennai is the greatest organization in the world. They have been the best ever since ever. Time is not a constant. Comedy Countdown Chennai, Maharaj is here. But in all honesty, so this is an interesting thing. Me and Soda have been running before Comedy Countdown Chennai came in, and I started working with them as well. Me and Soda used to run this thing called Chennai Comedy, and Chennai Comedy has 10,000 followers on Facebook, but Facebook doesn't matter. So we have an Instagram page which has 904 followers. So the transfer is.
But like Chennai Comedy was like literally the first time that me and Akib got to be producers, because so me and Akib are one of those friends who met only because of comedy. Like we have no relation, no connection before. I saw him perform at the open mic, and then I went up and spoke to him, and then after that we just ended up hanging out. And I think Akib started like a year or year and a half after I started. So then by then Chennai Comedy was already there. So Chennai Comedy was started by this person called Vikram. Vikram from, now he's in Chicago, but his name is Vikram Nadamuni Balaji. Vikram Balaji, Vic Comedy on Instagram. So he started a page called Chennai Open Micers. This is when we first started having open mics. And then slowly as we started having more open mics, he changed that page name to Chennai Comedy. And then by then Akib and I had started being more regular at open mics and all of that. And I would always get there early. Like me and Akib, we'll get there early because we want to beat the traffic or we have nothing else to do. So we got there early and literally asked questions like, what is the amp? What does it do? Where does this cable go? And so on. So slowly, because that interest, we kind of just started volunteering to produce. And then when Vikram had to move to Chicago for work, we were like, Vikram, if you leave and Chennai Comedy doesn't stay, then like, we don't have the open mics happening. So just tell us how to do it and we'll carry it forward. So since January 2016, me and Akib kind of started running Chennai Comedy. And I think almost until the end of 2018 to mid 2019, we were still doing shows.
The strange thing was that like it was not like we didn't really ever stop producing with Chennai Comedy. We would still do shows. I think we still continue to do shows towards the end, where we would still have like backyard where we go and perform once in a while.
I think the frequency came down for the best reason, which is that other producers and like comedy clubs started. So then we didn't want to just like randomly have so many shows happening in such a small community, because then like, the comics get overexposed and the audience has too much choice and stuff like that. So then we started collaborating with like Counterculture to produce in their venue. And slowly we realized that, comedy itself for us personally was taking a front seat, and we were spending more time just working on content and stuff like that. And then now I think it's been a long time. I think the last Chennai Comedy show that we produced was in March, like March 16th was the last show we did in Backyard. And then after that, like now the pandemic has started and so many people like the 6 p.m. show have started doing shows on Zoom. So we are like, there's enough people doing it. We'll just like, let's not start again.
Also, we like to do sports. So
so
we are like, okay, we'll do sports in other places.
But just for a clarification, it's not that we took advantage of pandemic and we started doing online shows. We have been doing before this also. It's just that the moment we started, after 2 shows, pandemic hit. So we are being looked on in that particular perspective that these guys are, doing the low effort production and stuff. But yeah, it's tough.
I disagree with anybody who says Zoom is like low effort production.
Yeah,
You know how much time it takes to set up this light and like have a mic. You know how difficult that is?
Dude, it's more difficult to host a Zoom call than an open mic as a comic. Okay.
Yeah,
Very true. You know how, like, dude, I used to have fun when I went on stage and I was just like, hey guys, what's going on? Now when I'm up on stage on Zoom and I just see like these boxes that are like with their names and the mute sign, I want to just flip them off and say like, why are you here? Do you not give a fuck about the comedy scene? Like, everyone is garbage. Okay, everybody is garbage, especially the comedians. Fuck you guys. Why are you turning off your video and audio?
This is the trailer reel for the podcast.
Of course.
In the teaser, Akib like, comedians are garbage. Fuck you all. Why don't you care? To watch more, click on the link.
And it just turns out like this, guys, just please turn on your audio and video.
Yeah.
You're watching comedy, man.
And whenever you do, hey guys, your earphones come out.
Oh yeah. But yeah, I think Comedy Countdown Chennai also. So Comedy Countdown itself was something that Petty Guru, he started in Mumbai, and it was him and a couple of people. And when he came to Chennai, like Guru has always been more than a comic. Like he like just like me and Akib. If you leave him in a room, the first thing he thinks of is, if I did a show here, how would it be?
How would it look?
And both, like the three of us. If you tell us all we have to do is perform, we will lose our minds.
Okay.
Like we will still get to the venue half an hour early. We'll still be like, hey, you did mic check. What is that light? Will that be fixed? Will this be fixed? Okay, now I will think about all the other stuff. So he really wanted to restart Comedy Countdown. So then Comedy Countdown Chennai started. And then now it's Guru, Akib, Janil and Arvind.
Yeah.
We had like a producer showcase recently, and we were asked the question like, what would you like to be known more as? And Guru was very specific. He was like, I would like to be known more as a producer. He likes being both, but if there is a thing where he wants to be known for, it is for production, because production is a very big deal for him.
Yeah.
True.
But yeah, this is why we are here now, doing a podcast with you. Because they're out of job.
But Abhishek, I wanted to ask you this, since I think you are the only person I know who got into production without being in stand-up for too long. Because most of the people that we know, they do stand-up for a while, then they start producing. So how has it been for you? Because I think now your experience as a producer and a comic are kind of like the same. So like, what do you prefer, and like how has that been for you? Like, what's the idea behind the 6 p.m. show?
Okay, so to tell you about the idea behind the 6 p.m. show. So let me begin with this point. When I decided to get into stand-up and shit. So it was January when I thought that, okay, this is a thing. Let's just try it. So yeah, as I said, I tried it in front of my friends who didn't give a fuck, and then I went to open mics and stuff. So after a couple of open mics, I'd say like 10 or so, I saw that first of all, my college was in the extreme outskirts of Chennai city. So it was one hell of a disaster to every evening, like not every evening, but weekly, almost 2 or 3 to rush. Like my classes end at like 5 p.m. and usually the open mics are at 7. So it takes time. So the moment I get away from the classes, I just rush to the city and then go to perform and stuff. Then I saw that, okay, this is the thing. First of all, I'm not so experienced at it, so I'm not getting enough feedback on this. And the second thing, it's a little hectic. So and the third thing was most important behind starting 6 p.m. show. Okay, so in our college there is this club, the cultural club, which has which conducts open mics for musicians, stand-up comedians and stuff, but it was at a very low frequency. Like they didn't have a specific schedule set to it, sometimes monthly, sometimes after 3 months, so it was not regular. So I saw that, okay, after attending these open mics, I realized the fact how important stage time is to any kind of artist, not just a stand-up comedian. So I thought, okay, let's build something which would give stage to the artist, any artist. So that's when we started the 6 p.m. show, and our first open mic was on February 28th, if I'm not
Oh,
wrong.
nice. Hmm.
And since then we did like 2 shows in the gap of 15 days, and that was the idea of, you know, frequency, that we'll do it every 15 days. But then pandemic happened, and then we did it online. So far
Right.
7 shows we have done,
Hey, wow.
including the offline ones. So
Right.
yeah, as a producer, my experience is still not that much, because
Yeah.
there's a lot of comics who do not usually agree to perform at the 6 p.m. show because they feel like it's a new thing and they're not, you know, reliable on this. But yeah, all thanks to you guys who have been, you know, supportive and performing with us, and yeah, that thing means a lot anyway. So
We
No,
had
but
this-
I think the amount of times we have approached comics, like, I think the one thing is that we have both learned that comics are more approachable than you think they are, especially people who are like successful or famous and all of that. Like, usually for us, we have that inhibition that, hey, why do they need to perform with us?
yeah,
Like, clearly
true,
we need
true.
them more. And a lot of times we've actually been pleasantly surprised, like with especially like people like Praveen Kumar, and you know, Karthik Kumar and all of that. We'll go to them, and like Praveen Kumar, I need to mention him because every time he comes up with new material, I think that's when me and Akib will pounce. We'll be like, sir, looks like you're performing for a special, sir. Why don't you come use our open mic, sir? Or come to the show, do 10-15 minutes. But we won't try to use them to promote the show. Like, I think that's
Yeah,
a promise that we make to them, because like, you know, for somebody like Praveen Kumar, he only does 1 hour shows now, because that's how much of an audience he has, and they want watch him only that much. So if he starts doing lineup shows, then his audience is going to go down, and
Yeah, true.
there's only so many people that you can get for your show for one of the comics that's performing.
Yeah.
So what
Yeah.
we like to do is we like to approach big comics, but we also give them the promise that we're not going to put you on the poster. Maybe we'll say special guest if at all, but please come and please perform with us. And then we get feedback from them about what we can do differently, because even if they're not producers, they've done enough shows for us for get some tips from them. So ideally, I think we've really had a great experience with like the big names in our time of producing shows.
Also, I think because we started off so early, it helped. Like the scene was just building up. But
Yeah.
now they're still approachable, but the difference will be that they
won't have
have
time.
to say no. Sometimes they have to, yeah, because of time constraints and things like that. So like you should I think that's a very important lesson as a comedian. You should always have, and I keep reminding myself and I keep reminding Soda about this, which is that don't stop asking.
Yeah.
Like you have to ask. You can't be like, why are they not doing this? Why are they not doing that? You have to go. We won't know, dude. We'll never know. Like I would have never known about 6 p.m. show if other comedians weren't talking about it. I wouldn't have known about Embellish if there was nobody was talking about it. Nobody will know about KCC if nobody was talking about it.
Yeah, true. And yeah, I actually totally agree on that point where you said that can we approach the big names or not. So for the initial 1 or 2 shows, I would like approach you guys and people whom I, you know, slightly know on a personal basis. So yeah, they would also agree and stuff. But then I was in a dilemma. Should I ask those people who are very good, but I don't know them? So I was in a dilemma. But then one of the fellow comics, he said that no, there is nothing like that you can ask. They are also looking for stage time. So I went ahead and asked, and to my surprise, they agreed. So it was good. But there is another side of it. Okay. There is this one comic, I would not take the name for obvious reasons. So
All names of people, places, and brands will be removed at the edit.
So, like, if you guys remember, on when we started the online scene for the 6 p.m. show, first one was on Instagram Live, which was not feasible, but yeah, a bunch of people agreed to it, and we did that. But then I pitched this comic which I'm talking about, so that there is this Instagram Live open mic which I'm doing. Do you want a spot? Like, do you want to perform, or like, if you want, I can give you a guest spot or anything else. So he was like, no, Instagram lives are not so feasible and stuff, so I'm like off it. Zoom and all are better. So I was like, cool, that totally makes sense to me. Then next we moved on to Google Meet because we don't have money for Zoom. So for Google Meet shows, I pitched him again for one show. Then he was like, okay, I'll do it. But then what happened? Suddenly he had a prior committed show whose timing was advanced. So he said, okay, this is the case, and I can't. I was like, cool, totally makes sense to me. I pitched him for another show, then the subsequent show. For that, he said, I'm packed up with schedule. I have some shows lined up during that time, so I can't. Again, I'm cool with it. I asked him again, and this time he didn't give a justification. Okay, he just said, hey, no, man, I'm not in. So it makes me wonder, like, no offense to that person, okay, with all due respect, it's just making me wonder if that person is genuinely busy or can't make it to the show, or is he like not willing to get associated with my organization at all.
Yeah. No, I think
Probably that.
see, like sometimes it's a very simple answer, but sometimes it could also be that like I think in my experience and in Akib's experience also, we've also come across comics where we have begged them to do shows, but not like, it's not even like they're the kind of comics who need to be begged. Okay. Like we have gone and told them, dude, you keep doing open mics. Why don't you do big spots also? We are here. We will give you. And they'll be like, oh. And we'll be like, why do I have to watch you waste your career? It's like, why? But yeah, I think maybe the only thing I would say is that whenever this person does come back to you and ask you for a spot, you just give it to him anyway. Because like whatever reason is there, every comic will always have that one point where they're happy to do shows with anybody because they just want stage time. And that's kind of when you don't really think about who's producing it or what it is. You just think about how many minutes do I have and when do I have to be on the call.
Yeah, right. So like not as a producer point of view, let me ask you as a comic point of view. If there is a new producer who approaches you, who has done like 3 to 4 shows only in the past, so what would be your approach? Like, would you agree immediately, or like how would you go with it?
I will agree, like, where you want to be.
Bro, ask me again so I can agree twice.
No, like I just want to tell you one small thing, which is that like there was this one show which I agreed to do, and I'm still very happy that I did it. It was a bringer open mic. I just knew that comic, and I brought my friend. It was the worst Zoom open mic show ever. Because what happened was the other comics, I think there were 5 comics, and I think there were only 3 people who were there. My friend and another 2 people.
Yeah.
The rest of them didn't even bring a +1. Okay.
Oh.
And the show went on for a very long time where they didn't have like a proper Zoom account. So the Zoom link went out, and then we signed back in, and all the audience left except my friend.
That is the reason I am not doing on Zoom. Only on Google Meet.
But that's why you do it in Google Meet. You're smart. They were. Yeah. And but the best part is I think they're still doing it. And I think it's very important that they do it, because like you only learn once you fuck up like a bajillion times. Yeah. Do you know how many shows me and Soda have done and fucked it up? Not funny, dude.
I think anybody who asks me for a spot, yeah, definitely, like I would say yes, unless even with shows on the same day, like as long as there's no time clash, I have no problem. Plus it's also Zoom, dude. Like I can literally switch between shows in a minute, and I just say, okay, I have this show happening. So I'm usually upfront. I immediately tell them, okay, I have this show at this time. So if I can get a last spot, please let me know, because then I'll finish that and come. But as a comic, I do also judge a producer based on their lineups before. So like, if I'm going to do like for open mics, I don't care. Like nobody cares. But if it's a featured show or something like that, if I'm one of like 5-6 comics, then I also, if I have the time, I try and see if there have been similar shows by the same producer before, and who are the kind of comics and what kind of lineups have they had. And then based on that, I then prepare myself for the show based on that. But I usually just say yes I don't have anything I think about. I think the only reason I check out what kind of lineups they've done is to know what kind of comics they work with, and maybe that might affect the kind of audience that might come, and maybe then I'll have to make some adjustments to my jokes or whatever.
Yeah. Like about you both guys, what I've seen is whenever I ask, you're like, yeah, cool, man. Why not?
Yeah.
Which is perfect. Like that's all a producer wants to hear. But
No, no. Okay.
it's been different
come
with a
back
bunch of
for
other
you.
people.
We will come to you one day and we will ask, hey, Abhishek, what मिलेगा क्या?
ये देना कॉमेडी के नाम पे दे दे बाबा स्पॉट देना
Hey, bye.
तुम मेरे को एक स्पॉट देगा खुदा तेरे को 10 ऑडियंस देगा.
It is only because pandemic that I'm being able to produce comedy curated lineups, because as I told, the idea of 6 p.m. show was all art to give stage to everyone. But when the first Google Meet open mic, which I did, open mic, so in that no one signed up, no musician, no beatboxer, no guitarist, nothing. That's when I realized that these kind of artists, they belong to a different category who are not comfortable with online scene. So I thought, okay, for the pandemic duration, let's stick to comedy. And then after this, I'll ask the comedians to fuck off, because I'll have other artists joining us. So yeah.
Hey, that's okay, guys. That's okay, guys. Me and Soda are non-comic friends.
Yeah.
So I guess we've been talking for a while, and let us move on to this final phase of the podcast. Okay. We'll wrap this up soon. So yeah, let me ask you guys this one last question: that what are the best and worst advices you have received? Akib.
Best advice I've ever gotten is cut the fluff, Akib. Shut the fuck up and cut the fluff. Like, that is my favorite piece of advice, because I still don't really understand it. Like, it's the one piece of advice where I'm like, I keep thinking about it and I'm like, okay, I have to cut this fluff, I have to cut this meat, like make it quicker, make it quicker, make it quicker. And I think that's the best piece of advice I've got, because I feel like anytime before this, and if nobody had told me this, I would have a 5-minute bit that is actually 40 minutes, because I would just keep rambling on about the background of my room, like the clock there, like how my penis formed in my mother's belly, all kinds of shit. All kinds of weird shit I would have said. So that's a problem now. So that was the best piece of advice I've gotten. And the worst piece of advice I've ever gotten is go to Dubai for comedy.
Is it like you get paid more or something like?
No. Like they were trolling me, because they were like, your content will work there.
I think worst and best. I think best advice I've gotten is that the audience doesn't care as much as you do about your jokes. The audience just wants to laugh. Okay. And as long as you do that, it's fine. Like a lot of times comics are like, oh, they're laughing, like the audience is laughing at the wrong time. They're laughing at the setup and not the punch. Then it's not their fault. That means you need to figure out your jokes better.
Yeah.
And a lot of times when you have a great show, you will still feel like, I didn't finish those jokes, but the audience is saying that they had fun. Oh, but they don't know what they missed out. Like, if I had landed that joke, they would have just gone. No, they paid, they laughed, and that's all. Like, when they leave, they're just gonna remember they came to one place, they watched somebody and they laughed. Yeah. So I think the thing that the audience doesn't think about your jokes as much as you do, that's, I think, the best advice that I got. The worst advice I got would probably be that so after this open mic, I think I was either hosting it or I was the closing spot or something. After that, this guy walked up to me from the audience and he was just leaving, and before he left, he came to me and said, bro, I think comedy comes out better if it sounds like you're complaining or ranting about something. So instead of just trying to make jokes, why don't you just like be more like complainy and ranty? And I was just like, if you don't know that that's what I was doing, It's my fault only. But still, the fact that you think there are positive jokes where I'm just like, oh, I'm having so much fun. I'll tell some jokes about positive, pleasant things. So I think that was like the worst, worst advice where one guy was like, I think you should complain about more things. I'm like, oh, you should meet my mom.
You should meet my mom also. Just generally,
What's yours?
Just meet all our moms.
What is Abhishek Maurya's best and worst?
Okay, so moving on to my best and worst advice. Okay, so best advice I would say. So I was at this fun venue talking to a fellow comic, like, yeah, man, I just made some changes. Okay, this bit I did this because it was not working too much. It's like, yeah, dude, it won't work. You have to keep doing. I'm like, wow, that's the best advice I've ever received, dude. I mean, after that, I stopped giving a fuck about like if it's working or not. I'm like, okay, let's just go and perform. Done.
Yeah.
And moving on to the worst advice, I would say like one of my friend, he was like, dude, maybe you're rushing things up. Like that's a big decision to get into stand-up. Maybe, perform more in front of the friends only, after which you can get into the scene. I'm like, dude, that's what open mics are for. So yeah, that's...
Dude, this is like saying, oh, you want to be writer, first work on your handwriting.
Yeah, exactly.
Then you be writer.
Soda, how about you? Best advice you've given?
Best advice I have given to a comic. I think the best advice I've given to a comic is if you're doing comedy, you're already funny and you don't need that to come from outside. I think that's something that a lot of us learn late because we're so busy trying to get other people to find us funny. We kind of don't realize that unless you were already funny, you wouldn't even have lasted this long. So when you get that thought itself, it's funny, and you're not trying to make it funnier by, using it as words on stage. You're just trying to match that because we're all hilarious in our own minds. So I think the best advice I have given somebody is like, chill out. You're funny. It'll come out. It's okay. Don't beat yourself up and don't compare yourself to anyone else. I think the other thing in general, I would say it's not even advice. I think it's just an observational fact. And this is why I'm so happy that I do stand up, because there is no comparison. You cannot compare anybody with anybody. You cannot compare comics with comics because it's so subjective that you cannot say one comedian is better than the other. You could probably measure that in terms of who pulls more tickets or who's more experienced and who's done what, but just in terms of performance, you cannot. Like if you took two comics who've had roughly the same experience, you can't tell which one's better. But you could do that with like a musician or something. Like, these two have been playing guitar for the same amount of time, but this guy can play that riff and this guy can't. Like, there are actual tangibles with which you can mark somebody being better than the other. But with stand-up, I really feel like we just keep trying to make ourselves more insecure. Every time you're on a lineup, like, dude, I can't go first. How will you follow that guy? How can I perform after that guy? All of that stuff is just in your head, dude. Like, as soon as you're on stage, the audience is with you. They're not going to be like, oh, be as funny as the other guy, only then I'll laugh.
Nice. If I had to take that advice onto myself, that's the highest validation I've ever got.
Akib's best advice to somebody. What is it?
If you don't know what feedback to give, say you have good energy.
Oh God.
Okay.
All the times I have said it to someone. I when I don't know what to say, I kind of just like, yeah, just try more.
Yeah, same.
More.
Oh, that's honestly the best advice anyone can give another comic. So take it, be free.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving on to the last thing. Okay, what is the best and worst advice you guys want to give me as a comic and as a producer?
How do we give him worst advice, Akib? Like to his face.
Wait, I'll give.
Just preface it with, hey, this is very bad advice, but I'll give you anyway.
No. I won't tell which one it is.
That's better. That's
mysterious.
better.
Oh.
We'll be
We-
like,
we
I
will
don't
leave
know
the-
which one it is.
We will leave the audience also in like confusion. Like you figure out. Abhishek received 2 advices, which is best and which is worst. Figure out. Let us know in the comments.
Wow. It's so hopeful that we think they're stuck long enough for them to do a call to action. Now, like they've been itching for 40 minutes. They're like, bro, मेरे को कुछ करने का था. Thank God तूने कुछ बोल दिया यार. वरना मैं करने का कुछ नहीं था. मैं ऐसा ही देख रहा था मैं.
Now that's when the intelligence comes in. I'll put this in the initial snippet now in the trailer.
Oh, like
Like
that.
then they'll wonder कि अरे कब आएगा? ये feedback वाला कब आएगा? अरे last में आया. Shit, ये तो game खेल गया.
It's a feedback callback, guys.
Yeah.
It's a feedback loop, bro.
Yeah.
Oh.
Everything is
I wanted you to
connected.
say it. It would have been better if you said it. Okay, we'll do him, then he'll do us.
Cool. Best advice and worst advice. And I won't tell
Yeah.
you which one it is. Okay.
Mm.
Every time you're up on stage, don't think it's the last time you're up on stage.
Okay.
Quit.
Oh shit, best advice, Akib. Do you know which one was the best advice? Yeah.
Yeah, that's mine.
I'll cut this one very nicely. You'll be you'll see it in the trailer.
Yeah. I'll also do what Akib did, but I won't make it so obvious also, okay? Like, Akib is just like Akib is that magician who will yell magic trick at the end of his own trick. I'm going to do magic. Okay, so advice, I'll give you 2 cents, 2 plus 2, 4 cents. So it's okay at any given point in time if you feel like you just want to produce and you don't want to perform, it's okay. You shouldn't let one thing be the reason for the other thing. So like you shouldn't be producing just because you're a comic, and you shouldn't be a comic just because you're producing and that's stage time anyway.
Right.
The other advice I would give you is as soon as you start making any money out of this, stop doing it for the money.
Okay. Right. Now
Yeah.
this is one hell of a confusion on which is best and which is worst. Like
See, because if you do something for money and you don't make money, you're anyways not doing it for money. But if you
Right.
get money and then you start doing it for money, then it gets like tricky.
yeah, then if at some point the revenue cuts off.
Your advice to us.
Okay, Akib. My best. Sorry, I will again not reveal. I'm
Okay,
using
okay.
your spells to you. Okay. So my advice to you would be like never give up and quit.
Hey, fuck you. Don't be a plagiarist, fuck, dude. This is another problem. Let me give you advice about it. Don't use other people's jokes, mate.
Okay, so my advice to Soda would be again not revealing which is best and which is worst. Please figure it out yourself and let us know in the comments. So my advice to Soda would be do a little less jokes on your dating life, because I've heard the fuck out of it. And another advice. Keep doing what you're doing. You're doing good stuff, man. You'll reach great heights in your life, and life will come out good to you one day or the other. So yeah.
So, Soda, top.
I feel like if I was not doing stand-up and I was working as like a tech guy and my HR was talking to me, this is the same advice I would have gotten. Do less jokes about your dating life. It's a professional environment, but keep doing what you're doing. It's okay. Oh God.
Nice.
Yes.
Okay. Cool.
This has been fun.
All right, guys. So that was all the content we wanted to put on YouTube and IGTV. And yeah, thanks a lot for staying back if you ever did. And yes, we will keep putting out more content more frequently in the future. But yeah, Until then, like, share, subscribe, do whatever the fuck you want. And yeah, just if you like it, appreciate us, give us feedback, do whatever you want, and enjoy your life. Stay safe. Goodbye. Thank you.